Welcome to another episode of the Fitness Business Blueprint podcast, where we bring you the best tips and strategies for running a successful six-figure fitness facility based on my experience of launching, growing, and scaling dozens of fitness locations across the world. Today, we're going to be talking about how you can hire the best team to grow your business. So this is broken down into 5 different elements that you need to get in place. But let's talk about why having a team is important first of all. Now, there's a quote that I go by that if you don't believe you need a team to achieve your goals, then your vision isn't big enough. And what that means is that a lot of times, a lot of solopreneurs, freelance trainers, we get very involved in the business. We wrap our ego around that we are the business, and we tend to believe in the beginning that nobody can do it like us. And I was like this too. In fact, I remember maybe 12, 13 years ago when I first started my first fitness bootcamp, and I grew it to about 60 or 70 members. And I never worked, never took any holidays, never took any time off, because in my mind, I wasn't able to. One of my friends one day said to me, Justin, you're getting burned out. You need a holiday. You're a fully booked semi-private studio. Why don't you just hire another trainer or just find a freelance trainer for a week and let them come and take your sessions so you can take a holiday? And probably like many of you listening to this, I was almost distraught by the idea. It just wasn't even comprehensible to me to let another trainer talk to my clients. How could that even happen? Was my thought process. And of course, we justify that by saying that my program is done a certain way, or the clients will only respond to me. But actually, it's based in fear, insecurity, and a lack mindset. To this day now, I'm a co-owner of a fitness business franchise. We have multiple locations, and I've grown multiple gyms myself, where not only did I not even work alongside the trainers, I didn't even hire the trainers. I've hired trainers who have then in turn become senior staff and hired their own trainers for me to work in the gym. So what if this concept sounds crazy to you right now? Just know it's a limiting belief. And it's really, if you ever want to transition from being a busy freelancer with a job or a replacement income, and you want to build a truly scalable business that can really impact hundreds or thousands more lives and really make a difference in your life, because as you get older, your priorities are going to change. You might be happy working 80 hours a week right now and taking on all the stress and responsibility, but we go through seasons of life, and maybe you become a parent, you start a family, maybe you decide you want to have more free time and travel, or maybe something on the contrary happens. Maybe you get an illness, you get sick, you break your arm, you break your leg, you need time off to grieve for something. If the whole business relies on you, it isn't actually, it's definitely the best thing for you, but it isn't actually the best thing for your clients either, because they're depending on you. And so you're making their goals, their momentum, fully dependent on you, hoping nothing happens to you or that you don't change your priorities in life. So just think about that. If you've ever had limiting beliefs about growing a team, it can be done. And if you want to grow a real business that doesn't fully depend on you to do all the coaching forever, then it has to be done if you're going to grow and scale a gym business. So let's break this down into 5 pillars you need to think about and get in place when it comes to growing a team that is loyal, high-performing, and reliable for you. Number 1 is getting that right team. Your team is going to make or break your business, and the right team is going to help you give a better service to clients, build a thriving gym community, but the wrong people can create a toxic, negative, political environment, harm your reputation, and even disrupt your revenues by stealing from you or anything else. And we've probably had experience of that. This is what has caused so many fit pros to deviate from the idea of hiring people, because they've had a couple of bad experiences. But I guarantee you that 99% of the time when it comes to staff problems, It's down to having the wrong people. If you have the right people, you can figure out how to get things right. If you've got the wrong people, you're never going to switch things around. So the first lesson here is you need to hire for personality, train for skill. What that means is don't look so hard at their resume, at their qualifications. It doesn't matter how well they can swing a kettlebell. What really matters is their attitudes, their beliefs, their goals, their personality, their values, and making sure it lines up with you as a company, the core values that they have, the passion for serving the market they has needs to match what you do as a company. So, for example, if you're helping busy mums to lose weight and tone up, you ideally want to find staff who are also passionate and experienced in that area, rather than people that are really passionate about helping men become bodybuilding champions. You can have someone that trains bodybuilders, but it's always going to be best when the long-term passions and visions are aligned. So you, your company, and your trainers are on the same aligned mission. When it comes to sharing the same values, that's important as well. So the values you want, like honesty, punctuality, reliability, being a high performer, being accountable, you need to know what these values are so that when you interview people, you can assess them on these values and ask them to give you examples of showing these things. If you do that, then you can teach the trainer, even if they're inexperienced or young, you can teach them how to lead your workouts. If you can't, if you think it's too complicated to teach your workout, then your workouts are too complicated. And that's a problem that's going to stop you from scaling, because your product, your service should be simple. Number two, then, think about the ideal team member. So just like you define a client avatar, you have an ideal client profile. Create an ideal team member profile. This is a great strategy that no fit pros do, and this is where they have a lot of problems. You'd have trouble marketing your fitness service or your bootcamp if you didn't know exactly who you were speaking to, right? So you probably experienced this in the past. When you first started out, you'd put out posts and saying, hey, I help anyone with their fitness goals, message me. And nobody messages you. But if you get more specific and say, I help busy mums to lose weight and waist inches, call me, then you get a lot more response. Same thing with your team members. So you've got to think of hiring a team as a marketing funnel. It's the same thing as you have a client marketing funnel. You're going to have a team member or candidate funnel. So think of that ideal team member that you want. What are the qualities they'd have? What kind of age range would they be? What kind of salary and experience would they be looking for? What kind of knowledge would they have? What kind of influences would they have? Like, would they be more vegan, paleo, CrossFit kind of fanatics, or would they be more into things like John Berardi, precision nutrition, functional fitness? That's important because it needs to line up with the philosophies that you have. If you both have shared philosophies, it's going to be far easier for them to grasp your concept, and you're going to have less conflict on ideas. Step number 3 is then finding these potential candidates. Once we know who you're looking for, we can now start looking for them by going where they are. Once you know who someone is, you can find out where they are. If I say I'm looking for a chef, I know that he's going to be in a kitchen. So there are lots of ways to find different candidates and bring them into your funnels. Some of the best ways that we've used are Indeed.com, which is like a job prospecting site. You can go through LinkedIn and look for trainers in your proximity there. And you can just use social media, referrals. You can also give referral incentives. So we tell our staff, if they know any other trainers that want to come and work for us, then if that person comes, we like them, we give them a job, then the referring team member will get a small commission once that team member has passed their 90-day probation with us. So once you go out there and find candidates, the key for this is to create a job description. And don't make this boring like most people do. Most people have a job description and it's boring and it is very... it's not an advert, right? It needs to instead look like an advert because you're trying to sell somebody on working for you. This is a marketing funnel, remember. So don't assume someone should work for you just because you're giving a paycheck. You've got to sell the right person to come for you, because guess what? Even if you think, well, I shouldn't have to sell someone because I'm the one giving a job, the fact is, if you want the best people already have good jobs. So you have to compete to win those people, to leave their probably cushy job already, or they're probably making good money on their own. You've got to give them a compelling reason why they should come and work for you. And it can't just be a competitive paycheck, because you likely want someone who wants to work for you because of more than just the money. So if you lure them in simply by offering more money, that could actually bring someone who has the wrong traits. So you have to let them know and answer this one question. This is what I always ask Fit Pros who I mentor. When they say, can't find good staff, I don't know how to find people, or staff keep leaving, let's say, I'll say, okay, have you answered this one question? Why should this trainer quit what they're doing and come and work for you rather than doing anything else, including working for themselves? Why should they stop everything and come and jump on your program? Why should they do that? You need to if you haven't got a compelling reason for that, then you're not going to attract the best job candidates, and you'll end up attracting people that just want to get a paycheck and will just lie and make up whatever they need to get that money. So if you're going to attract the right people, you need to pay well, but you need to attract them as well. And so some things you can do to attract people and attract those candidates is going to be offering them what responsibilities can they have now and can they grow into in the future. So they want to see this career progression with you. They're not going to just be a trainer for the rest of their life, but you're a growing company and they're going to be able to grow with you. You need to let them know some other benefits they'll get, other benefits package. So not just money, but will you cover any health insurance? What kind of holidays do they get? Do you invest in any additional professional development for them? Do you put them on courses, things like that? So they need to know that they're going to grow professionally with you. They can have new responsibilities, and they're going to be part of a good team culture of a business that is fast growing. The fourth step then is, when you've got these candidates coming in, you've got the right candidates lining up and saying they're interested, then we have the interview process. So the interview process, we do this in multiple stages, because you can't just have a sit-down interview because people can just say the right things. You need to see people in action. This is a physical job if we're looking for trainers. So we do a couple of things. We've got a lot of candidates coming in. So the first thing we want to do is we give a quick phone call. And the first phone call is just 2 or 3 minutes. And we're just going to weed out as many people as we can so we can find the best ones to take them to the next step. So the first is just a pre-qualifying phone call. And all we're doing is asking a couple of things about them, just asking them some open-ended questions. And what we're trying to do is basically just see can they actually hold a conversation? Do they sound pleasant? Do they sound like someone we're inspired to speak to and find out more about? And you'll be surprised, 80% of people, 90% don't even pass this step. A lot of them are just boring. They can't hold a conversation. They don't have good energy. And you've got to keep looking for the right person then. Don't hire too soon. You may need to go through a lot of people to find a rock star. So don't give up too early. I would be interviewing at least 10 people before you make a decision. Otherwise, you're going to take on the wrong people, and then it's going to cost you more time in the long term. So that's the first stage. If they get past that and we're inspired to talk to them more, then we'll bring them in. We will then do a trial session. So essentially, they'll just shadow along. We don't let them lead the session, obviously, but they'll come in. We'll have them usually watch the first session that goes on, have them take notes, and we'll say, okay, have a look at what we do, take some notes here, and write down some of your thoughts, some of the things that you noticed and why you think we do those things. Then in the second session, when those clients leave and the new clients come in for the second adjacent session, then we'll have the candidate jump on and shadow our leading coach. And we're not going to give them too many instructions. We're just going to say, hey, jump in. You're shadowing your lead coach. You're assisting him. So, do as he or she says. And just, have fun. And then we're just going to watch again for initiative. Does this person now sit around and stand there and wait to be told what to do and hide in the corner? Or do they make an effort and they go out there and they get to know all the clients' names and they move around as much as they can and they're engaged, and we're looking for their session, we're looking for their room awareness. Do they have awareness to move the room? So if you're doing groups, for example, if our lead coach is in the top half of the room, then is the assistant standing next to him up there, which is useless? Or is the assistant moving to an area of the room that isn't being supervised as strongly and balancing out from the lead coach? That's what we're looking for. That's what we call the room or session workspace awareness. So we're looking for all these different things. How engaging is he? How aware is he of the environment? How well does this candidate play into their role of the assistant coach? Do they assist, or do they try and take over and lead? All these things we look at and we can judge very quickly just by watching them. If we like what they're doing, then we'll invite them to stay behind then for an extra 30 minutes. And the final part of the interview process then is a sit-down, face-to-face, full interview, where then we'll get to find out more about them and look at some options. The final segment then is training and onboarding. So if you like the person, once you've found that team member, onboarding is absolutely critical, just like it is with a client to your gym. The onboarding is designed to overcome buyer's remorse, just like a client, because remember, they've made a big step in coming to you. Maybe they've stopped working in a more, or they perceive as a more secure job for a big gym chain, or maybe they've left a different career to pursue fitness. And you've got to make sure, let them know they've made the right decision, so they don't back out, and you've got to go through the whole recruitment process again. Onboarding is important to make them feel welcomed, make them feel valued, and make them feel excited, because new team members are going to be nervous on their first couple of weeks on the job. Even if they're skilled, they're going to be nervous, and a nervous person reduces their ability. Their performance could be compromised just because they're nervous and they're too afraid of messing up, so they don't fully assert themselves. So the more you make them feel comfortable, relaxed, but also ingrained in the high performance accountability culture that you have, they know they're expected to do their best, but they also know that there's no need to be nervous. They're able to go out there and do their best. Then you want to give them the right training, tools, and give them some benchmarks. So we have basically a 90-day initial period. It's legally our probation period, where we can set the terms of the salary and the job, but we have 90 days to review. And in that 90 days, at the end of the 90 days, we can review the position if we want to continue the employment, and if not, we can let them go right there. So they've got to still impress us in the first 90 days, and we basically set up almost like a 12-week apprenticeship. So that 12 weeks is guided, they're mentored, they have milestones, they have assignments to do every single week, like an exam period. So we're doing our best to make them the best team member we can and onboard them for 90 days so that they become a fully fledged team member. After that, hit the ground running, and then within a couple of months, they'll actually be able to turn around and onboard the new staff coming in. And that's how we get more autonomy in our locations. So that's the 5 steps. Quick recap then. You've got number 1 is getting the right team members, understanding your value and your vision, first of all. Number 2 then is to define the ideal team member and what you're looking for in that person. Step number 3 is going to be to go use different strategies to attract potential candidates through job posting, social media, referrals. 4 then is the interview process, which we break down into 3 stages: the initial phone call, the trial session, and the sit down face-to-face. And number 5 is then the onboarding period and making them feel welcomed and having that 90-day apprenticeship to give them the best start possible. So that's it for today's episode. Hope you found this valuable in hiring the best team for your business. Remember, your team is the essential part of your success, and your gym will live or die based on that. So take the time to find the right person. Don't rush into hiring. Listen to your gut. Look for that X factor. Only work with rock stars. Have a high performance culture, and your gym is going to have much better success in the long term. That's it for today. Join me next time. Don't forget to subscribe, leave a review if this helped you, and I'll see you next time.